Morning, Coach. Coach, how have the newcomers adjusted to conditioning, the culture, et cetera?
Well, I still think they're doing it. So it's a process for all our new guys. It takes some longer than others, but they all have a good attitude. They're all working hard. But you know, we've been doing things to get ready for the start of practice. So I think things will start getting accelerated starting today.
Going to Mark Berman, please. Mark, go ahead with your question for Coach.
Good morning, Kelvin. How are you?
Good, Mark.
Kelvin, I know that you've moved on, but how much is there a residual benefit mentally for your program, for your players? This is what we can do. This is what can happen if we do if we follow what you want, follow what you do, and they saw what happened last year.
I don't know. I have no idea how to answer that question. We've got so many guys that didn't play on that team, or I'm sure for the players coming back, but for the team, doesn't apply. Maybe Fabian and Marcus, Tremont, Reggie, returning players. But you're right. We have moved on. I don't. The only time I ever even think about last year's when I go into road recruiting. People talk about it a lot. If I go around town, people will mention it, but I never talk to the team about it. And it's new team. We got a lot of work to do. You don't carry over. You don't carry over anything that was accomplished from the year before. You start with a new team every year. This time last year, I thought we'd have a good team. That was about it. This time this year, I think we'll have a good team. In time, we'll see. I mean, we've got so many new faces, lost so many important pieces, guys that had been there for a while. You don't replace the guys we lost with first-year guys. That's not fair to them. So, but we'll put our team together, see what we have.
How special is to get Fabian? How special is to get Fabian White back for another year?
Well, the fact that he tore his this time last year, he was rehabbing that ACL, and we had no idea he's even going to play last year. So I think we got him for about 5 or 6 weeks last year. So I'm happy for him that he gets to, knock on wood, gets to have a full senior season versus a quarter of one.
We'll go to Matt Musil at KHOU. Matt, go ahead.
Hey, Kelvin. Yeah, I was going to ask you. We're gonna be able to have a chance to speak with Fabian and Marcus Sasser here in a few minutes. If you could just talk a little bit about those two guys in the core. You're coming back here with this season to start this campaign.
Yeah, even though we've lost a lot of guys over the years, we've always been able to build around a couple of key guys coming back. When we lost Breon Brady and Galen Robinson, Corey Davis, and Armani Brooks, that next year we still had Dejan, Nate, Bryson. We had a nucleus that's played a lot of minutes and played a lot of basketball. But Fabian Marcus has been around a lot of success since they've been here, and they've had a big part in it. Marcus is just watching him since June in our workouts, whether they team workouts, position works, individual workouts. Marcus has improved. Fabian has really improved. So I expect those two guys to build on their past success, but also be leaders of our program. They're the guys that these new guys especially look up to. Our new players are no different than fans when it comes to watching the NCAA tournament. They watched these guys on TV and saw what they did. So now they're on the same team with them. So I think they garnered that respect. But Kyler Edwards is not experienced with us, but he's been through a lot of battles too. Josh Carlton's been through a lot of battles. We just have to get meshed together. Our experience is varied, but it's there. It's just not. We just don't have experience together, and that's where starting today with the start of practice, just getting everybody on the same page with everything we do, whether it's rebounding or defense, taking care of the ball, all the different things. But for sure, Marcus and Fabian going in are the two guys I look to as the leaders of our program.
Marcus has made some big plays, some big shots for you. What else have you seen him developmental wise here?
Well, Marcus always guards the other team's point guard. So, that's our point of attack. We talk a lot about our pickup point and how we're going to defend the ball screen, how we're going to defend this action, that action, that action. Those things don't happen accidentally. I mean, they have to be worked on, and you have to be really good at it. And Marcus has been our point of attack now 2 years, going on his third year. And Marcus is a quiet kid, but he's tough. There is no back down in that kid. I've watched him for close to 60 plus 65 games or so. He's a tough nut. I feel good about Marcus being our point of attack on defense. He's worked really, really hard on being more consistent with his play. There's a lot more to Marcus than just making threes or shooting threes. He's gotten better at his float game. He's got better at reading pick and rolls with the ball. In the past, he's played off the ball with Dejan. Now he'll have the ball in his hands a little bit more. So being able to read the middle, behind and forward on his pick and roll reads. He just needs a lot of reps, but he needs game action too. We're going to get him ready, but games are different. So we've got scrimmage coming up. We've got an exhibition game coming up before we start the season, and we're going to try to see how much work we can get done with these guys before we do that. But I'm expecting a lot from Marcus this year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. We'll go to Greg Bailey with KTRK, please. Greg, go ahead, sir.
Hey, Kelvin, you're really touching on something here about the way you've built this program. How vital is it for the standards that you've set that you constantly have those veteran players as opposed to maybe bringing in young guys, new guys year in, year out that's done other places?
Everybody has their way of doing things. You don't have sustained success without a plan, obviously. But we've been lucky that we haven't been hit. We haven't been hurt with that transfer portal. Our guys come back, and there's obviously reasons why. The reason why kids leave. We've had some kids leave, like Cam Tyson. I thought was made a great decision for him. Cedric Alley Jr. made a great decision for him. But our core guys, they buy into our culture. They buy into winning. They buy into the success of the program. And you think about Fabian is going into his 5th year here. You know, he's never lost. All he knows is winning. You know, there's Marcus is going to his third year. In his 2 years, he won a conference championship, a conference tournament championship, would have gone to 2 NCAA tournaments, Sweet 16, Elite 8 final. But that's those guys are a major part of that. But developing your depth is crucial. You know, if you don't develop your depth, then you've lost twice when you lose a class. You don't have anybody ready to go to replace them. What year was it? The year that we went 33-4. That next year's class was Dejan, Nate, Caleb, Fabian, Bryson. You know, even though we lost 4 seniors the year before, all those guys played a lot of minutes except for Caleb. Then Quentin came in. You know, we just keep this thing. We just really, really work hard to keep this thing rolling by having guys ready to go. You know, we're going to lose 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 guys off this year's team too. You know, the next year, you know, who's the class that we have to have ready. But it's not easy, obviously. If it was, then everybody would be able to do it. But I think it speaks to the kind of kids that we recruit and the great job that my staff does.
Thank you. We'll go to Dayon Dunlap, please. Dayon, go ahead, sir.
How's it going, Coach Sampson?
Hey, Dayon.
You just talked about a second ago about expecting Fabe and Marcus to be leaders. How have you seen them grow as leaders over the summer, with both of them kind of being quiet, leading in different ways?
Yeah, we don't tell them how to lead. They all have their own style. I mean, I've seen a lot of different leadership styles. When Fabian first got here, he was real quiet and he didn't know how to work. You know, I wouldn't say he was lazy, although I've had some lazy kids, but I would say Fabian just never has been challenged that way. And he struggled with it. Most guys like to stay comfortable. They don't want to get outside their comfort zone. You know, and we do a good job here of making them uncomfortable, if you will, getting them out of their comfort zone. That's where having high character kids come in, man. You can challenge high character kids. You can challenge mature kids. And that's the one thing Fabian was. You know, his freshman year, he backed up Devin Davis. And by the end of the year, we were playing Devin and Fabian together a lot. Then you look at his second year, you know, his first year he won 27 games. Second year he's won 33. Think about it, kid won 60 games in 2 years. And he was a big part of that. Then his third and fourth years, same thing. But now, and this is what I like about our leaders, they see themselves as the caretakers of our program. Now they're the guardians of our culture. You know, there's only one person that sets the culture. That's not a shared thing. It starts with one person, and that's the head coach. Always has been, always will be. But his ability to get people to buy into that culture has to start with your leadership. You know, and all the leaders that we've had here, starting in our second year. The first year we didn't, you know, we were kind of discombobulated, obviously, with all those kids leaving and just picking up the pieces. Without the transfer portal, then that would have probably been different, but it was what it was. But Damian Dotson, Rob Gray, all the way to Galen, Corey, you know, all the way through Nate, Dejan. We all those guys really embraced the culture. They took it upon themselves as this is the way we're going to win, and they bought into that. But you have to have success for that thing to stay gassed. You know, they're not doing all this work without positive feedback now. but they realize if we do this, that we have a better chance to succeed. And Marcus and Fabian are great representatives of this program. You know, Fabian's already graduated. He's got his degree. Marcus will have his here pretty soon. So academically, there's no concerns. Character, there's no concerns. Work ethic, no concerns. They've earned the right to be leaders. And I've been really pleased with how they've stepped up. And we've had some tough days so far, nothing like what we're going to have, but we've had some tough days so far, especially for those new guys. And I see them matriculating to them to get in their ear and get them through it. Kind of being proactive about what's next. And that's always a good sign when you see your leaders caring about those new guys like that.
Got time for one or two more questions here, guys. We'll go to Chris Gardner, please, with another question. Chris, go ahead, sir.
Coach, what makes Alan Bishop so good at his job, and have you seen him evolve in this time at U of H?
Well, first of all, what we do here is completely different than what he did at Utah State. You know, obviously everything starts at the top with the culture that we've established. He did a good job of picking up on that and reinforcing that in the weight room. And then the resources that we've had. You know, we have not, you know, we've put these kids first, whether it's meals, being able to give them meals. A lot of schools would like to feed them like we do. They don't have the resources. Starts there. But he has a passion for it. And our kids like him. I mean, they genuinely like Coach Bish. And he's all about team. You know, he's a great teammate. He's a outstanding leader. I think he really has a pulse of how, I think he's learned a lot from our coaching staff on how to deal with our kids. And he's been real consistent with it. You know, being around Kellen helps Bishop. Being around Quantas helps Bishop. Because he watches how our guys hold guys accountable. And he's learned how to do that. And so I think he's evolved every year. And he continues to do a great job.
This is the last question here. I got Daniel Gotera from KHOU. Daniel, go ahead, please.
Hey, Kelvin. Question. Last year, there were so many other extenuating circumstances going into that season. You had to worry about so many other things. But, you know, the COVID protocols, not that they're still not there, but what's it been like to see your team mature from that point of view? There are so many other things going on. It's got to make your guys a lot stronger heading into a year, which seems a little bit more normal.
Yeah, based on last year, I mean, this time last year, it seems like everything was in a holding pattern. You know, we just weren't quite sure. You know, you hear what's going on with shutdowns and masks and all that stuff, and you know, we want to be as diligent as possible. But the thing that I noticed, Daniel, is it brought our kids closer together. I think because they realized that, you know, we had so many kids test positive over the course of the year, and they're stuck in their room for all that time, and our guys did a great job of having a text chain, supporting each other. Kellen and Quantas and Coach Brooks, KC, Coach Bishop, our staff did a great job of locking in and make sure we touch them every day if we couldn't see them, either by a phone call or text or Facebook, whatever it was. We stayed in touch with each other. And then when somebody was coming out, somebody was going in, you know, it was the same thing. But I think anytime you deal with adversity as a group, that nobody went through something nobody else did, we could relate. Now, some of our kids were affected a little more than others, but going through that really helped that team. Now this team is different. No two teams are alike. This team will have to find its voice. This team's going to have to find its identity. But our coaching staff will help them along the way. Really haven't thought about our games or anything. We just focused on getting to these first few practices and just continue to get better. But I'm anxious to see how everybody mixes and blends with each other, and who's willing to sacrifice, and who's willing to, like Dejan last year. He had a couple of games where he scored well, and we lost those games. I think it was at East Carolina, at Wichita State. We weren't going to win with Dejan being our leading scorer, and I had to sit him down and explain that to him. I said, winning has to be more important than statistics. And so that was a huge sacrifice that he made. I think he's benefiting from that right now, and talking with him at the Pacers training camp. But every team has to go through that. Who's willing to give something up for team gains? I'm anxious to see how that plays out here in the next couple of weeks.